I would say we do a podcast and kick off this Monday, Al. What do you say?
Oh, hi there, Jerry. Some of our videos have been showing up in my YouTube
Oh,
suggestions.
how about that? Are you
Yeah.
watching them?
So I do click on them because I'm like, okay, I want to get us
Get us rolling.
I want to get us rolling because what I heard is that YouTube will like sprinkle your videos into random
Sure,
people's
yeah.
things, and then if they click on them, they'll sprinkle them
Some more.
into other people's random
I like
things.
it.
So I'm trying to do that. I'm also trying to figure out why I show up here all jacked up at 5 a.m.
I don't know. You're
Like
a
it's
completely different human being.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out why that is. Like why when I start the warm-up show at 5 a.m. I'm fired up. I'm just like on fire.
I don't
Just
know.
firing at all cylinders. And then by
5 a.m. Al is not 10 a.m. Al.
yeah, then at 10 a.m. I'm very relaxed.
Yeah. I prefer doing the podcast with you.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like I don't know if people like fired up Al.
Some do, some despise it.
Yeah, some don't like it.
I met Patrick in Middletown
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday morning.
Does he want to fight me? I will
is
fight
no.
him.
He listens every morning
Oh.
at 5 a.m. I'm not sure if he's a podcast listener. I meant to mention him this morning. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So he is up every morning. He enjoys our show. Says it's funny, it's light. Well, when you're fired up and yelling, it's not funny and light.
Yeah, it's not. I know. I got to.
I think my question for you would be this.
Yeah.
And I think I know the answer to it, but
All
I'll
right.
ask it anyway. Like, I understand you watch the games because you feel like you need to for the show. I do get that. But I don't know why you care so much about it when you don't really care about it. Meaning, if there's something that annoys me, whether it's TV, I want to say radio, but maybe even YouTube, I'm one of those people when I suggest if you don't like us, turn us off. I take my own advice, and I certainly don't get hung up by it. You don't seem to be able to let that go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And I feel like it's doing you more harm than anybody
Yes.
else.
Yeah. I think I was thinking about this mainly today, but I've been thinking about it a lot. Like the baseball season, I did not consume one actual game.
Okay.
I watched the highlights for the Mets and Yankees every morning,
Mhm.
even on the weekends. I would
Yeah,
get up,
I know. Yep.
and I even watched the World Series highlights, but I didn't consume it in its the way it's meant to be consumed, because I'm sure if I did, I would be furious about it. But I'm consuming the NFL that way, and I think that's what's making me crazy.
You're consuming it.
In the way it's meant to be consumed, which
You're
is
trying to watch it, right?
trying to watch it. And it feels like what gets really frustrating and makes me crazy, I think, is that it is so flawed in the way it's presented. And it makes me crazy that no one cares.
Well, life is flawed. And I think that's an extension of everything we do. I think a lot of people go to jobs that they don't like, have crappy bosses, but they're stuck going to work. I think people are stuck in relationships that are flawed and have issues, and yet you end up doing the same thing with the same person, sometimes for decades. I don't know that there's any part of life that's not flawed. So why would that be any different? And A, or B rather, I would put it on you tell me, how would you change it if in fact it's working financially?
Well, I think that's my problem I have, is that when there are things that I don't think are working and that I think most people would agree are not working, the fact that that the people still participate in it
Sure.
is what keeps it working.
And we do that too in other parts of life as well. We talk about $24 drinks, and everybody in the place will
Yeah.
agree it's highway robbery. Yet you look around, up, give me another. I got the next round, and here's your bill for $96 for 4 drinks.
Yeah.
And we keep doing it. I always ask you, where is the line that we finally say enough is enough? I would have never thought it would have been past $15. I told you I went to the Bahamas and was pleasantly surprised that a mixed drink was $17.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be 30, and crap for brains over here was ready to pay it, even though I know it's absurd. The same way with whether it's the commercials or, whatever it might be that drives you nuts about whatever sporting event.
Yeah.
No different in everything we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's throwing me off, is it's probably just more than sports. It's all like those things like you just mentioned. It's different things that that everyone agrees is being done incorrectly, but we keep
Doing it.
participating in the problem.
So you had a caller today. This is a great example. The idea that you would pay $400 a ticket for a football game, 4 tickets is $1,600, and you haven't done parking. It's a $2,000 day. And that guy basically said, I'm going to put it up there. And if anybody wants to buy it, there's a market for it. Why? Why would it stop? It's only
Yeah.
going to keep until and again, I don't know where that point is. People have money or plastic. I don't know. I heard that call this morning. Like, here's the crux of the problem right there.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, okay, so I commute. I would say waking up at 2 a.m. is definitely taking its toll.
Oh, it has on me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely, I
Yep.
think, is part of my 5 a.m. screaming. I will say I don't mind the commute in. I actually enjoy.
Peaceful.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
with
peaceful.
you. I'm with you.
I enjoy listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, it's very. I look forward. The ride home, it feels different because there's a lot more cars on the road.
Sure.
It's daytime. The ride in is smooth.
Yeah.
Even it's like, okay, then I go through social media. Now, social media can certainly make somebody crazy. But I will say, for the most part, in the mornings when I go through social media, I am mostly laughing at the creative ways people are commenting on
Sure.
football and baseball and politics and life. So I feel like I am getting a laugh out of that.
Right.
I just don't know why I choose to, why at 5 a.m. when that microphone goes on, I'm nuts.
And it's not every day.
Yeah.
It is not every day, not even close to every day. But you do have your moments. And what's crazy for me is having done this with you now for, I mean, what is it, 10 years with the podcast and 5 years in the morning, I don't know when it's coming. I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
there are days I walk in here, ha, 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 ha. And even before we go on, you seem fine. And then
Yeah.
once you get started, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, once I get going.
And I'm usually thrown for a loop. I kind of expected, because I know you find it hard to believe, but I did watch that Giant game yesterday,
Mhm.
and I'm watching it saying, this team is just, I don't get Jackson Dart, fine. So 4-yard outs. It's boring. And I kind of had an idea you would have been annoyed, but,
And I wonder if if part of it is there's an extra added adrenaline that it's live radio WFAN.
could be.
Versus this is like a more laid back podcast.
Well, that, and I think you're through the morning. Like, as time goes by, I think you kind of mellow out. Most people do. What you might be fired up about on Sunday afternoon, you're not going to be on Monday morning. And what you're fired up on Monday morning, unless it's a continuing conversation, like let's say you were fired up at 5 a.m. about the Giants, and then the Jets were playing at 8 a.m. in London, and it was punt, 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 and you're watching it here, and you were, it was riling you up again. You got the show you're getting through. By this point, it's 4 hours ago now, 5 hours ago.
Yeah, that's true. Right. But the game was over like even yesterday by the time
but you released it all. Like, you got it out there. You're not taking calls. You're not furthering the conversation. You said what you had to say. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
You're going to keep getting pissed. You pissed off enough about it. And I do think partly, and I think this is maybe even subconsciously, I think it's maybe a part of it is the fact that you genuinely would not watch this if it wasn't for the job. And I think there's a part of you that resents sitting there on a 65-degree Sunday afternoon watching crap football. I really do think that. That's part of it. Whether you think so or not, I think subconsciously that's a part of it.
Yeah, crap football.
Because even I love football, and even I'm sitting there sometimes like, I don't want to do this. Like, this sucks. Cowboys I'll always watch. It doesn't matter. I will always watch them. Any other games, sometimes I don't want to be in the house watching it when it's gorgeous out.
And maybe because it's been going on with the local teams for so long and it's so
Definition of insanity, Al.
Yeah.
And we're repeating it every single season.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Insane.
It is tough. I get it.
And then, like, my whole day after this is monotonous as well.
Doesn't help.
Because of whatever I'm doing wrong in interacting with the dog, that is like an insane circle.
Yeah. Again, you're doing the same thing, hoping it changes. It ain't changing.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yes.
And again, so your definition of insanity with the football teams,
Right.
followed by the dog not changing its ways and not going anywhere anytime soon. You're going to continue in this circle of crap.
What did Sheil
Basically.
call it? The
Wheel of turds or something?
we
Something like that.
wheel of was it just wheel of
It was
turds?
something. I don't know if that's exactly what it was, but it was something like that. The carousel of turds, the wheel of turds.
I think it was a wheel of turds.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the wheel of turds just going around, going around, going around.
And I do believe there's something to be said for needing a change in life.
Yeah.
You know, you made one with the dog. It hasn't gone great. You need something else now, something else to look forward to. Otherwise, it's the same old every single day. Your life's on repeat.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, my life is on repeat. Even though it's an easy life.
Oh, no one's complaining about that. But you can have an easy life and still feel stale.
Yeah.
And
stale.
look for something different.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would fault you for that. I mean, I'm doing the same thing myself think of where I'm at. I've been at this radio station for 28 years. I have been in this spot with you guys now for 16 or 17 years with the same hours. They've gotten a little worse because of the warm-up show. I used to wake up at 4 a.m., which didn't feel so bad. This 2:45 stuff sucks. 2 o'clock for you is miserable. But 16 or 17 years I've been doing the same full-time job. I've been with Rutgers now. This is year 10. Compass Media Networks is year 16. My life for the last 10 years, aside from my kids changing and getting older and their routine changing, pretty much the same. Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
You know, that's where, like, I had a conversation with my father, and I'm like, what do you do when you feel stale? Do you Pat Riley says you got to do something new every 10 years. All right. But where do I go? It's not that easy.
You got to buy a sports car. I think that's what.
I don't want to buy a sports car.
Yeah,
I like my 220,000 mile GTI. I'm good.
And I've moved.
I know you have
4 times since I've worked here. I was in Woodbridge, Basking Ridge,
Right.
Mattawan, Bradley Beach.
Yeah. I've only moved once since I've started with you guys.
Yeah.
I moved in 05 and then I moved in 17. And in that time span, you've had 4 moves, right?
Yeah.
Or at least 3.
I think it's also like, I think if in order to do this schedule for some people, and I'm one of those people, I feel like Eddie might be one of these people too. Boomer and Gio are certainly not these people. You have to have, or I felt like you have to have a regimented life in order to properly do these hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I got super regimented in my daily activity, where it's like this happens at this time, then at this time, and if I'm a little off, like Sunday night is really a work night as far as like
Absolutely,
but
you're not in that work mode because it's the weekend.
Yeah, so at 5 o'clock where I might normally be doing, I'm not doing that, and then I start to panic, and I'm like, and I'm trying.
You're out of sorts.
Yeah, I'm out of sorts.
Yep.
I'm like, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my story is.
I don't know.
I need to buy probably a candy apple red Porsche.
You could do that.
Start commuting in with that in the morning.
Have you ever thought about getting into political radio?
No, because I think I would hate politics as well.
Okay.
Once I think when you do this, you know what it is, like political talk, sports talk, it's like there is nothing that's going to be said on this radio station today that I'm not aware of and I haven't heard already in the 4 hours. So,
well,
and I think the same thing happens for political talk as well.
Sure.
You're going based on both political talk and sports talk. You're going based on what's the latest news that we're reacting to.
Well, I think when you come back to when you get into radio, what they always tell you is your average listener listens for a half hour.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, what maybe you do, maybe you consume too much of it. Like when you should theoretically be done with it at 10 o'clock and not worry or care about what BT and Sal say, what Evan and Tiki say, maybe listen to McMonagle for 5 minutes coming in, but that should be the end of it. I think when you start consuming more and more of it, you sit there and say, why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Yet their audience and our audience. I know for a fact there are people that listen to us that do not listen any other day part. And I know for a fact there are people that listen that tune in to BT and Sal, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the same for Evan and Tiki. There's very few people, I would think. I mean, some people leave the station on all day, but I don't know how many people are doing that.
I also think the people that have it on all day, it's in the background, right? So sometimes
Sure.
they're paying attention, sometimes they're not. They're
Right.
going about their day, and sometimes they'll listen more. But yeah, it's funny because we could even do a thing like we did a whole thing this morning about all the 49ers fans that were there.
Yeah.
And then maybe 20 minutes later, a guy called and goes, I can't believe you guys haven't mentioned how many Niners fans were there.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, no, they just did a big thing. Oh, I just turned it on.
Mm-hmm. And this is when I turn it on
Yeah.
every day. Like, you've always said when, people would tune in with Craig at, 8:30, like, oh, so you didn't hear 6 o'clock. You didn't hear Sports Craig.
You didn't get a sports show.
Or the people that only listen from 6 to 6:30, oh, you hear Sports Craig. It depends on what their listening habits are, which is why, and I understand, I guess I do understand why it's the monotony of it. But I don't think as a radio station, we are good at, and this will sound crazy based on what I just said, within a show, repeating takes and topics, because for instance, when I first started doing this, I remember I had to sit down with Mark Chernoff, Eric Spitz, and Ben Meverack because I had to do this and wins at the same time, if you remember. And I remember I said, guys, how do you want me to do this? There's so much. And I remember Mark saying, what's so hard? All you got to do is write it once. I was like, write it once. He's like, it's not the same audience at 6:30, at 7:30, at 8:30, 9:30. And then I remember Eric saying, well, you should do at least 2. And Ben's like, for us, since you're doing it every, we're 15 and 45, he goes, I need 3 reports and just, cycle through the 3 reports for the 6 hours. I'm like, hold on a second. You want me to write 3 reports for 6 hours? So my 6:15 is the 7:45, and then you're going to hear it again at 7:45, at 9:15. He goes, well, yeah, that's how radio works. No one's listening for 3 hours. And I don't think as a station, we do a good job of that, of thinking about the changing audience, because we did it and we feel like we did it. Everyone must have heard it.
Yeah. I think it's also a lot of the hosts don't want to hear it again.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so then if you want to have enthusiastic, engaged hosts repeating the same things, they tune out mentally.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do.
That's why I always thought it was funny too. Like when people would make a big deal out of what are you opening the show with? Like, but that's only a show open for a very small percentage of the audience. The other
Right.
person's show might start at 6:40.
Yeah.
You might be a show open for people.
Very possible.
The 6:20 update.
Really, if you think about it, if you look at the ratings, you really should save your big open for the block that you have your biggest audience for.
Yeah.
Theoretically. And if that's 7 o'clock, then maybe you open softly at 6, knowing at 7, we're going to hit you hard with something, because that's when the bulk of the audience is listening.
Yeah. I don't know. You listened to Imus.
I did.
Growing up, and I listened to Howard Stern.
Yep.
So Howard Stern to me used to be really interesting how he would start his show at 6 o'clock. It was a very slow
Still is
build, right?
It still
So
is.
he'd come on, the music would be playing. He'd be, hey, Robin. Yeah, I'm feeling bloated from, I ate potatoes last night. Feeling a little bit bloated. I saw Gary running around here. His hair looked weird. Like he wasn't getting into the big topics of the day. It was a slow, like,
very casual.
I just got here.
Yep.
I just sat down. Let me get my bearings straight.
Yeah.
And for sports talk, it's just like I'm sure Mike and the Mad Dog would they come on at 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
They came out probably blasting.
Correct. Yeah.
But so Imus was a slower build?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He would just come on and it would just be, so because he would come on, Charles would come on at the top. So it would start with news. And that was the local news. So he was syndicated like Stern was. And if I remember correctly, if I remember the clock, it was like 00 to 03 was local news. And then it was either a 1-minute break, and then you would come back, and that's when the national audience would join. And that's where Charles would do the national headlines. And so he would come on, hour 1, here's Charles McCord. And that's how the show would start, him reading the national news. And then they would comment, they would talk, kind of like what our segments become in the middle of each hour. The idea is to engage, not me just run through clips. And that's how unless he had a guest on. Obviously, that would change. And Charles's 6 o'clock, unless something happened, Charles's 6 o'clock clips were the same at 8. Same thing with Breen. He repeated a lot, and they would always repeat. I would think Stern did this too. I don't know. When they had bits, and they had a lot of bits, you would sometimes hear him every hour.
Yeah, Stern would not do that.
Yeah, he was. Imus used to at least twice a show. Like when they would do the Wilford Brimley ones, you would get that at least twice in a show, and they'd repeat it sometimes the next day too. So if you had if I remember this right, and Eddie would probably remember better because he actually ran the board sometimes when Lou wasn't in. If I remember correctly, if you ran a Wilford Brimley clip in the 6 o'clock hour and the 8 o'clock hour on Monday, you're probably getting it in the 7 and the 9 o'clock hour Tuesday. There's a lot of repeatability trying to build in and factor in the idea that you didn't have the same audience for 4 hours.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Stern's was more random. Like he would do it initially, and then maybe 3 days later, maybe it would come up again. Or,
and they'd be ready for it if it came up.
Yeah.
Right.
But it didn't seem planned. And maybe it was planned, and they were just good at making things seem off the cuff when they were planned.
I do remember big production meetings that would start. Like, Imus would get to work every morning at 5 a.m. He was there at 5 a.m. every single morning. Brant would drop him off, his limo driver. Bernie was always there by 5. Lou would get in at 5:25. He lived around the corner, and he would have to be on the board for 5:30 for the taped part of Imus. But Bernie was there at 5. The news writer was there at 4. The tape op was there at 2:15 every morning, so that the sound was like your job as the tape op for the Imus show. And I really wanted it like this years ago, and I couldn't get guys to do it because their job was 2 to 10 at first. The idea was everything is cut and ready for Breen at 6 a.m. so that when he goes in there at 6:30, it wasn't go get this, go get that. It's all right. What do we got? Nice job. I'm going to work with this. And we've never done it like that here. And now we don't have a tape op anymore. So it's different. But then the show would end and there would be a production meeting at 10:30 every single morning. Every day, I'm just leaving till 3 o'clock. He'd be cutting bits back with Larry Kenny and Rob Bartlett, and Bernie would stay and do things. Like they worked 8-hour days to make sure the show hummed along. Whether you liked it or not, irrelevant. It was scheduled, it was programmed, and there was never a moment where it was like, oh, what are we gonna do now? What should we discuss? They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's just different. It felt like I don't know what the right word is, but it felt like every day was an event, and they had to make sure they knew how they were going to attack the day. It was very interesting watching it.
Yeah, I think probably the Stern Show does something like that now. They have I had read or heard somewhere that they had like a staff of 70.
Yeah, it's crazy.
70 people.
Well, you got 2 stations. They
Right.
got the Howard 101, and they take that pretty seriously anytime I look into it or put it on. So maybe that's part of it. Plus, they're big with the video clips like we are now. So I'm sure there's a digital department to the Stern Show, I would think. And they are their biggest property.
Well, I hope at some point they let Gary and Fred and all them people talk like after the show comes to an end and everybody retires. Like I would love to hear those guys. Like
the stories?
They're so locked down and not allowed to speak.
I didn't know that.
In interviews and things.
I had no idea.
I would love to be able. I'm not looking for dirt. I'd love to know how did you go from 3 or 4 people working on a show to 70? And how do you organize all those people? And what do they all specifically do?
That is interesting.
Yeah, I'd just like to.
I mean, I told you this morning, I found the Letterman old Howard Stern interviews on the Late Show fascinating.
Yeah.
Because he did give you in the early ones in like 1984, sound right?
I think 84, yeah.
Right around those interviews, he was on like 84, 86, 80, and you could see as he was changing through the years. But he gave you a little bit of insight to some of that stuff, mentioning different people that were working on the show. It was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
To me, it was anyway.
Yeah, those old Letterman clips are really cool.
I was impressed by it.
Yeah.
Very well done.
And I was reading, because you mentioned, I think off the air this morning, that Judy DeAngelis, who used to work
she was one of the people that Howard said was on her staff, part of the show.
And she worked at 1010 Wins.
Yeah, I used to get coffee with Judy every single morning at 4:15. She was the morning anchor at Wins. She started at 5:30, but she was in at 4 o'clock every morning. And we just had the same schedule in terms of being back there every morning for 5 or 6 years. I would say hello to Judy DeAngelis, and I was blown away when I heard him mention her.
Yeah, so I tried to do some Googling
Yeah.
about her. So when she worked at NBC, she did news and did voices for various shows. She was a character voice.
How about that?
Yeah.
So she must have been in his bits.
Yeah. She was
I
doing
thought that was
bits.
great.
Yeah.
Man,
I wish I knew that when I would see her getting coffee in the back.
You would have loved to have had a conversation with her.
Yes.
She could have given you stories.
Oh.
I didn't realize Breen worked at NBC. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought he started with Imus at Fan. I didn't know they had a prior relationship to NBC.
That's one thing we are missing in radio is a talk station that is not sports and is not politics.
Well, why don't we do it on YouTube?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I would do that. I can change your routine.
Those are fun shows.
We do a live guy show.
Mm-hmm.
You pick the time. 40 minutes, nothing crazy. We got to commit to it, though.
Right.
Pick 2 days a week. We don't do it every day. 2 days a week. We commit to it. We do it. I would actually do that. I think that would be fun.
Guy talk.
Yeah. Whatever's on your mind.
Boner
pills, ball games.
Boners.
Let's see. Boner pills, ball games, and beer.
And beers.
That's what we call it.
And
ball
nudie.
games, ball games, boner pills, boobs, and beer.
Yeah.
There's the show.
In the afternoon. Who do we compete against? Devin and Tiki?
Nobody.
Just go after them.
I don't look at it that way. I don't look at YouTube as competing with anything other than you're looking for your own audience.
That's true.
And we ain't talking sports.
That Jake Assman does a Jets show.
He does well.
I think he's making cash.
Good for
I'm
him.
gonna go do that, Jerry.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Jerry, let's do the warm-up show where I was screaming at least for the first full 15-minute segment at least. We'll be back here tomorrow, Jerry. I'm going to be very calm, very relaxed. I'll probably start the show like this tomorrow. Oh, hey, Jerry.
Zen.
How's it going? I had some chicken thighs for dinner last night
And walked the dog at 12:30.
Walked the dog a couple times. Pretty cool. All right, Jerry. So